Welcome to Unscrolling, where we dive into the digital world to uncover what's really going on behind the screen. I'm Raj Patel, your host, and today's episode is all about the unseen risks of social media, particularly how it can subtly corrupt the unknowing person. We often think of social media as fun, social, maybe even harmless. But what if it's also quietly altering how we think, how we feel, and how we act? To help us navigate this complex topic, I'm delighted to welcome Nora Adams, a seasoned social media strategist. Nora, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Raj. It's a pleasure to be here. This is such a critical conversation, especially in today's hyper-connected world. My work often involves understanding user engagement, so I've had a front row seat to both the incredible power and the potential pitfalls of these platforms.
Indeed. Today, we'll examine how platforms can manipulate, isolate, distort self-image, spread harmful content, and significantly affect mental health. And crucially, we aim to answer how can you stay aware and protect yourself or someone you care about from being changed by social media in ways you didn't expect. So take a seat, set your phone aside, and let's dive in. Nora, before we delve into the mechanics, let's define what we mean by corrupting in this context. We're not just talking about data breaches or malware, are we?
Absolutely not, Raj. We're talking about something far more insidious, altering your mindset, your behavior, or your very sense of self in ways that you didn't consciously choose or might not even recognize. Social media platforms aren't just reflecting our world, they are actively shaping it, often without us realizing how deep that influence goes. It's about a subtle erosion of autonomy.
That's a powerful distinction. What are some of the key mechanisms at play here?
Well, there are several. First, algorithmic reinforcement and echo chambers. Platforms use algorithms to constantly feed you more of what keeps you scrolling, often reinforcing existing viewpoints or even nudging you toward new ones without your explicit consent. Research like studies published on Archive shows exposure to social engagement metrics like likes and shares increases vulnerability to misinformation. Then there's social comparison and self-image distortion. You scroll through idealized lives and edited photos, constantly seeing others living better lives. Subconsciously, this can drastically change how you view yourself and your life expectations. For example, CU Anshet's News has highlighted how social media use is linked to negative self-esteem, body dissatisfaction, and disordered eating.
It's a powerful combination that can really shift an individual's internal landscape. So, with these mechanisms in mind, what does the evidence say about the real-world impacts? Nora, can you share some of the research?
Certainly, Raj. The evidence is increasingly clear. A systematic review published in PMC found that social media activity is consistently associated with symptoms of anxiety and depression. While direct causation can be complex, the correlation is robust. And this isn't just an adult phenomenon. MayoClinic.org reported that in teens aged 12 to 15 in the US, using social media more than 3 times a day predicted poorer mental health and well-being. It's not just personal well-being either. The Pew Research Center found that a significant 64% of US adults believe social media has a mostly negative effect on the way things are going in the country today. That's a stark statistic.
Those numbers are certainly sobering. It seems to touch on both individual and societal well-being. Beyond anxiety and depression, what other specific impacts are researchers observing?
The list is quite extensive, unfortunately. Psychiatric Times has linked social media use to increased depression, anxiety, parasuicidal behavior, and body dysmorphia. And on a broader scale, regarding content and behavior, research, again from Archive, shows that social media networks are highly vulnerable to manipulation. This can corrupt the quality of public discourse and deeply influence users' beliefs, turning critical thinking into reactive echo chambers.
From a psychological perspective, as you mentioned earlier, it sounds like an environment where our internal guardrails are just bypassed. So, we mentioned that platforms are designed to bypass our internal guardrails. Can you elaborate on why social media holds this immense power? What are the underlying mechanisms that make us so susceptible?
It boils down to intentional design, Raj. These platforms are engineered for engagement. Their entire business model relies on maximizing your time on site, your interactions, your shares, and your likes. So your attention and your emotional responses aren't just byproducts, they are the product being harvested. This leads to the manipulation of metrics. Knowing that seeing many likes feels good, platform designs highlight these metrics, which in turn affects your self-worth and behavior. For instance, as we discussed, exposure to engagement metrics increases vulnerability to misinformation, as noted in studies from Archive.
So, we're essentially being programmed to seek external validation through these platforms.
Precisely. Then there are the algorithmic feedback loops. The more you engage with a certain type of content, the more similar content the platform shows you. This can exaggerate viewpoints and behaviors, feeding you ever more extreme or emotionally charged material. It creates a spiral. Finally, there's social proof and peer pressure. If everyone seems to approve of a post or lifestyle, you feel pressure to conform. This reduces critical distance. Because we scroll so fast, we often don't pause and reflect. Thoughts, opinions, and moods become reactive rather than reflective. That's where the corruption of critical thinking truly happens. As a Psychology Today article put it, the real dangers of social media aren't the algorithms or trolls. They're about the blind spots in your mind.
That's a crucial point, Nora. The blind spots in our minds. Let's focus on the unknowing person, someone who isn't necessarily conscious of these risks, who uses social media in what feels like a normal way, yet begins to experience these subtle, insidious changes. How does social media corrupt without us even realizing it?
It's a gradual process, Raj. One way is the normalization of extreme behavior. Because we're constantly exposed to radical views, harassment, or sensationalized posts, what used to feel abnormal slowly becomes accepted as part of the online landscape. Our moral compass can drift. Then there's desensitization. We get accustomed to constant interruptions, quick rewards, and notification pings. Our brain literally rewires for that. And this bleeds into other areas of life: work, relationships, and sustained focus. That can make real-world interactions feel dull by comparison.
So our internal reward systems are being recalibrated by these platforms.
Exactly. This leads to shifting values. Instead of valuing deep connection, reflection, and reality, one may start prioritizing likes, followers, and external affirmation. You begin aligning your behavior to what gets rewarded by the platform rather than what aligns with your deeper personal values. This also ties into the erosion of self-worth and autonomy. Using social media as a mirror, your self-image can shift to a curated version of yourself, making you lose comfort offline or in an unfiltered form. A major review, again highlighted by CU Anschutz News, found social media contributes to body dissatisfaction and idealized self-presentation that negatively influences body image. And paradoxically, despite all the connection, it often leads to isolation. UC Davis Health notes social media can negatively impact well-being by fueling anxiety, depression, loneliness, and the infamous FOMO. When you're unknowing, you might blame yourself, blame others, or dismiss the platform, while the underlying mechanisms keep operating. That's the real danger.
That's a very clear picture of the dangers, Nora. So, if social media can subtly corrupt or distort us, what can we do? How can we protect ourselves and stay aware without completely disengaging from the digital world?
It's about intentionality, Raj. First, set intentional limits. Make time boundaries. Consider limiting usage to specific times or designating phone-free periods. Mindful use is also key. Ask yourself, how do I feel after scrolling? Are my moods shifting? Am I comparing myself to others? Diversify your activities. Balance online time with offline connection
physical activity, creative work, and genuine reflection. Actively curate your feed. Follow accounts that align with your values and unfollow ones that make you feel less than or reactive.
It sounds like we need to be proactive rather than just reactive consumers of content.
Absolutely. Pause before you post. Give yourself a moment to reflect. Why am I posting this? What's my motive? Is it for validation or genuine sharing? Crucially, cultivate critical thinking and media literacy. Be aware of how platforms operate, what engagement metrics truly mean, and how algorithms might be shaping your feed. Remember the archive research showing networks are vulnerable to manipulative tactics. Finally, check your self-worth source. Are you getting your value from the screen or from your real life, your values, and your relationships? If you notice significant negative changes in mood, behavior, sleep, or self-image, don't hesitate to seek support from a trusted friend or professional. The more aware you are of how your attention is being shaped, the less likely you are to be reshaped unconsciously. It's about regaining your agency.
Nora, that's incredibly valuable advice. To wrap up our discussion today, it's clear that social media is not inherently evil. It offers real benefits like connection, community, information, and inspiration. But as we've explored, it casts long shadows, mechanisms that can often subtly and unrecognized distort how you think, feel, act, and view yourself. If you let it, the platform may shape you rather than you shaping your platform use. That's the heart of what we mean when we say corruption. It's the gradual erosion of your critical agency and self-direction.
And that erosion is so difficult to spot because it happens in small, almost imperceptible shifts, day after day. It's truly a silent force. Our awareness is our most powerful tool against it.
Indeed. So, as you go forward from today, ask yourself, am I using social media or is social media using me? Nora Adams, thank you so much for sharing your insights and expertise with us on Unscrolling. It's been an illuminating conversation.
My pleasure, Raj. Thank you for having me.
If this episode made you pause, reflect, or rethink your digital habits, we've done our job. As you go forward, keep your mind free, your attention intentional, and your values front and center. Until next time, keep scrolling with awareness. Outro music.